Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
Alrighty. Hey folks, this is Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you guys once again, transmitting live at the Asylum Studios from the Pimple on the backside of Texas, the beautiful city of Eagle Pass. And of course, as always, doing the very best we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we can muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. Hey guys, it's Monday. It is the 12th of January, 2026, 19:05 hours. And we are going to kick this thing off here momentarily. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I will not say that I did. It was all right. When we did the show yesterday, I forgot to mention about what had happened on the weekend with me. So stupid, all right? This is, and I'm only telling you this because, you know, we're family. So I can talk about my stupid things that I do. So this weekend, I decided that, you know what? I got to clean my curtains in the bedroom. And I get up on top of the ladder to get the curtain rack off the top there, the curtain bar, whatever you want to call it, curtain rod. There you go. And I thought I had enough clearance with the ceiling fan that was still running. And man, I knocked myself in the back of the head with the ceiling fan. I think it knocked me out for about a good 10 seconds or so, because the next thing I knew, I woke up face down in the bed. My dogs were shaking, standing over me. And so I got this big knot on the back of my head now. It's like, it's very uncomfortable. And so I was a little punchy after that. And then, of course, you know, the regular job gets in the way of trying to relax and recover from that thing. So I ended up, Friday night, so I did that Friday night. And then at 4 o'clock Saturday morning, I got called into work because there was a power outage. And so I had to be there. I had to go. So I'm trying to recover from this knock to the back of the head at work, dealing with generators and all that mess, all that noise, and then got back to the house somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was there for like 4 hours, and then could not go back to sleep. I was up all day. I tried doing the show prep for Sunday's show. Really couldn't get through a lot of that because my head was pounding. Finally, sit down 8 o'clock that night to sit down and start doing the work on the show for Sunday. And I got a phone call from the job again. Now they smelled smoke in the building. Well, did the fire alarms go off? No. All right, then there's no fire. It's fine. It's nothing. No, you got to go. So I ended up having to go to work again Saturday night. All of this on zero sleep. Then put the show together for Sunday. And then did the show Sunday, and here we are tonight, and I got a headache. Almost didn't have a show tonight, too, because our wonderful internet service provider decided to have an outage at like 4:30. Told us it wasn't going to be ready until 8 o'clock tonight, but I shouldn't complain because they got it up on time to get the show in. So that was my weekend in a nutshell. Hope you guys had a better one. And I hope you were able to catch the show yesterday. We were continuing on with our Sunday Bible study series, talking about the dispensation. So I hope you were able to catch that. This time we talked about the differences between the two kingdoms, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, why they're different, why it's important to know that they're different things, because two things that are different are not the same. Right? I mean, kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God, not even spelled the same. So they're not the same. They're two different things altogether. And we covered that yesterday. So I'm not going to re-preach the whole thing. So just come on, check out the show. And then we'll continue on with that study next week. Got a busy night tonight. We got two incredible guests waiting for us, so we're going to get into that here momentarily. Just want to remind everybody this is a live show, weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, your family, and your followers. This way, you can help us grow this beast, all right? We really would appreciate that. So don't forget to do that. Like, subscribe, and share. Friends, family, followers across your social media. However you want to spread it out there, we appreciate that. All right, let's get to some of the housekeeping stuff so we can get into our guests. So, folks, Podhome. Podhome.fm is the most modern and easy-to-use podcast hosting platform that you're ever going to come across. That's our host platform for our audio feed. It's been that way for about 3 years now, and they are just fantastic. All right. Now, you could use Podhome to publish your episodes, enhance your audio, automatically generate chapters, titles, transcripts, show notes, cover art, chapter art, episode art, whatever you need to do. You can do it through Podhome, and there's even more that you can do. You can actually podcast live through Podhome. That's what we're doing. Not only are we doing a live video stream, but we have a live audio stream going out there across all the modern Podcast 2.0 apps like Podverse and Podhome's app, and Pocket Cast, Podcast Guru, Fountain.fm, True Fans, not only fans, TrueFans.fm, all those great apps. So you can go check those things out. And if you go, also, you could listen to the show live audio on our website because Podhome provides HTML. So you can build this beautiful little player and put it up on your website. And you can do that. And not only that, but if you don't have a website, say you're a podcaster and you're just getting started, don't have a website yet, Podhome will give you one. No extra charge. And they'll even help you set it up. Super easy. And you can even bring your own domain if you had one. It's super easy. So you can do all of that for one affordable monthly subscription of $15.99 a month. You cannot beat that. You can't. I've been on the platforms. I've spent double, triple what I'm paying at Podhome, and I got less than what I'm getting at Podhome. It's great. You got to try them out. And if you go there today, you sign up, you get 30 days free. So 30 days free to play with it. You're not going to give it up. You're going to come back, and you're going to stick with it. $15.99 a month, just $15.99 a month. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So head over there at podhome.fm and check them out. All right. This upcoming segment here is brought to you tonight by Creative Edge. Creative Edge sponsors this segment. Publicity at its finest for all creatives. Your brand, your future. Check out Creative Edge at the link up on your screen. It will be in the show notes. Oops, went down already. It will be in the show notes, and we'll make sure that it's included in everything, because I know I put it in one set of the show notes, but didn't reach everybody. So the last show we did. So it'll be up there. All right. Now, tonight, coming up on our show here this evening, we welcome Tara Hodgson. Hello there, Tara. So Tara is a Canadian junior high school teacher turned YA author or young adult author whose novels Chasing Through Time and At Least I'm Trying unpack what growing up in a tech-obsessed world really feels like. With nearly 2 decades around teens, she writes gut-punching stories about social media, mental health, and the digital age. And whether you're a parent, teacher, or just curious what teens are dealing with, Tara's going to explain it to us tonight and explain the real cost of growing up plugged in. Tara, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Can you turn your volume up a little bit on your mic? Is that possible? Or do
Yeah, is that better?
Much better.
Okay, perfect.
Much better. So, I know we talked a little bit before the show, so I'm going to throw the icebreakers at you.
Okay.
So I hope you're ready for this one. If your life right now had a theme song, what would be playing as you walked on the stage tonight?
Oh my gosh.
I told you. I was going to give you the heads up.
Theme song. I listen to music constantly, but I tend to listen to the same songs over and over and over again. Okay, I'm going to go for the theme with my book, because my book, At Least I'm Trying, was inspired by a Taylor Swift song called This Is Me Trying. And it's literally about you just like trying and giving your all to everything and hoping it works out. Because right now I'm, I'm teaching full time.
Okay.
I have 2 little kids. I am trying to write books and kind of pursue this dream I've had for so long. And I honestly feel like every day I'm just trying to do it all and keep my head above water.
Okay. All right.
There we go. I got an answer.
All right. All right. You got it. You're good. All right. Next one. What's your go-to don't judge me comfort food?
Oh my gosh. I would say, okay, when I just want something easy and comforting, I call it my girl dinner. I get chips, just like a layer of chips, layered cheese, toss it in the microwave. Happy. Poor man's nachos.
All right. That's good.
So good.
It wasn't so bad, right?
No, that was good.
Okay. All right.
I can talk food. Food's easy.
Listen, thank God I wear black and I have a desk in front of me because I got my little belly going on over here. I've been binging. It's terrible. Last night I was craving, of all things, a coffee cake.
Delicious.
So, but it was also here where I'm in Eagle Pass. So in Eagle Pass, after 9 o'clock, nothing's open, so you can't go
Okay.
anywhere. So I ended up baking my own.
Wow.
Um,
That's dedicated. You really wanted that coffee
that's
cake.
desperation. It was. I needed it badly.
Yeah.
So yeah. So at 10 o'clock last night, I was baking a coffee cake, and needless to say that it did not survive the night.
No, I'm
So
just impressed because I never bake. Even
don't even-
desperation couldn't get me to bake. So
I,
well
I
done.
I hate baking.
Me too.
I really do. I cook. I'm like I bill myself as an amateur home chef.
Hmm.
So I cook for I cook for my dogs really mostly.
Oh.
It's just us. So
Hmm.
so they get home cooked meals every night and all that great stuff. But
Wow.
every now and then I'll cook something for myself. And I've been on embracing my Italian heritage a little bit more since I'm living down here very far away from it. And so I every Sunday I do an Italian themed dinner. So I'll do the pastas and I'll do the sauces. I'll make all homemade stuff. I don't buy stuff. Um, so I've been eating a lot of that. So I've been binging on that stuff. And of course, with that comes the breads and the wines and all that mess. So yeah, so
But it's so good. Pasta is the go-to as well. It's so
it's
good.
amazing.
Always.
It's amazing. And I
Hmm.
like to sometimes I don't do it often, I should more, but I'll post it up on the social media stuff and just to brag because I plate really well. It might not taste good, but it plates well.
They'll never know.
That's
They don't
right.
need to know.
No, that's it. And I firmly believe that if the plate of food may not taste great, but if it's plated well, it'll fool you into thinking it is. So
Yeah.
that's just
I
my
like that thinking.
okay.
Mhm.
Great. So Tara, what first got you interested in teaching, and then how did that eventually lead into you writing novels?
Well, it was a long journey before I got to the actual writing part. But honestly, when I was in university, well, first of all, university was never an option in my house. I was going to university regardless of what I wanted to do. That was the path that my parents wanted me to take. So I went to university not having any idea what I wanted to do, really. So I was just kind of taking classes that seemed interesting. I took a lot of English classes because I love to read, I love to write,
Okay.
and I just kind of fell into teaching. I was like, well, if I love reading and writing so much, maybe I'll be a teacher and I'll teach English. So I fell into that and then taught for 15 years until I actually decided to write a book because, life just starts. You get your job and it's just life. You're busy, you're doing all of your things. I had a family, and writing was always something I did for pleasure. Like it was never something I thought to take seriously. But my auntie, Barbara Hodgson, is an author. So she had published books all throughout my life, and I have them all over my shelf. And there was a lot of things happening in education, and I think it's happening in the United States too. It's kind of a universal shift that's happened in the last 10 years, and it's really started to become evident that it's down to technology and how that's
Mhm.
caused such a change in kids. And I was really struggling with what I was seeing, and I went for a walk one day and I had a story come into my head, and literally, like, start to finish, it just like it was like I couldn't not write it. So I went home. I did not tell a single person. I just started writing and I didn't tell anybody for a while, and it fell out of me. It was just like I had to tell it. So,
Mhm.
mhm.
So when did you actually decide though that you wanted to be a published author? Was there like a particular moment that you just woke up and said, "Today's the day"?
I think even then I wasn't sure that I was taking it seriously yet. I'm like, I'm just gonna write this and see. Like, let's just see what happens.
Okay.
Like maybe I won't even finish it. I don't know. And then I did finish it and I was very proud of it. And I was just like, what the heck? Let's just try. So I started to query agents, came to realize very quickly that I'm incredibly impatient. So I talked to some other authors around who had self-published, and
Okay.
yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I also didn't tell anybody then. My close people knew, but the day it was released, I was kind of like, surprise, I wrote a book. It was I don't like to be the center of attention, so that was a very difficult experience for me, like releasing it into the world. Um, I found that the most challenging part of doing it. But I was like, hey, I started this. I'm just gonna see what happens.
And how long did it take you?
To actually write from start to finish
Yeah.
and edit and all of that, I would say a year and a half total, probably. But one of my really good friends is an editor. She used to be a teacher in my division, so she kind of worked through with me through the process as well, which helped a lot. So yeah, I'd say a year and a half.
That's not bad. That seems to be the average though. Like I've interviewed a lot of authors of late, and that seems to be about the average, about a year and a half, 2 years to do it. One mentioned that it took them more than 10 years to do it, but
Wow, yeah.
but there were extenuating circumstances around it. They explained it, and it was very interesting actually.
Mhm.
But yeah, that sounds about right to me anyway. I have an outline sitting in my closet here that I haven't developed yet. It's been sitting there since 1999, I think, 1998.
Wow.
It's just
Just
sitting,
waiting.
just waiting. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's not going away.
we'll
One
see.
day.
We shall see. And I'm sorry for playing with the wires back here. My in-ears are driving me crazy tonight for some reason. They're not sitting right. So can you tell me about a vivid classroom experience that showed up in your fiction at a later point?
Well, I've never picked anything specific to like one kid. I was very cognizant of the fact that, the families that I have worked with and kids I've worked with are probably going to pick up the book at some point and read it. So when I created my characters and the situations, it's very much a combination of multiple kids that I've seen and experiences I've gone through. My first book, Chasing Through Time, is very much dealing with mental health of kids and how that's connected to social media, especially. And there is some discussions of suicide, which is something that I have experienced as a teacher. And I remember during COVID specifically sitting online with a student who said that they were going to commit suicide, and having that conversation with that student and ending up having to call the RCMP and make sure that somebody was going to check on him. So that, like, one moment and then a multitude of moments kind of play into my fiction, but I never want to tell like that exact story in my books. I take it and kind of run with it a little bit and change it and tweak it and put it all together.
I got you. Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to include anything specific in details like that, especially in a
Yeah.
situation like that. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Has being a teacher helped or hindered your writing?
I would say both. Having a day job, as you can understand, really gets in the way of the extra things you want to do.
It does. It gets in the way of all the fun stuff.
Yeah, like I would love to sit at home and just write all day. That would be the dream at some point. But when I think about it, I wouldn't have had all of these ideas and experiences to create my fiction without teaching. And my students, they are the ones who, like, I have a group of girls who actually beta read my books and help me with, the slang and the dialogue and the outfits and all of those little things that I need some help with as an elder millennial. I need some help, with those specifics. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't have had the idea for, my first book, especially if I had never been a teacher. So it's helpful in that sense, but man, yeah, day jobs, they get in the way.
they do. They do.
Yeah.
I would much rather be doing this than doing
Yeah.
the day job. So, but
Mhm.
it's
Here
what
we
it is.
are. Got to pay the bills.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm not as talented as a Joe Rogan, so I'm not there yet. So
Not there yet.
we'll get there. We'll get there
The
someday.
name's close.
Yes, yes, but I had it first. So
There you go.
this is a shortened version of my name, and I've been using this since I was a little guy playing
Yeah,
ball back
I
in
love it.
Brooklyn. Thank you. So growing up, I guess what stories influenced you the most?
Um, I'm a voracious reader, but when I was a kid, I read constantly. I loved sad books, which I think have really inspired my writing because my books they're sad. They deal with really heavy themes. So I loved the book Go Ask Alice, which was like an anonymous diary of a girl who becomes addicted to drugs.
Okay.
I reread that one a lot. I read a lot of books by Lurleen McDaniel, who wrote like terrible tragedies of like teenage relationships, like people dying of cancer and like just depressing books. So for some reason, I gravitated toward those. That real life heaviness. And then as I grew older and continued to read anything by John Green, I love, and Kathleen Glasgow is another one, and she writes about really real, just heavy, real life stuff.
Do you think those types of books influence your style now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want to touch on subjects that maybe are, you know, they're just heavier. They're real. I don't want to, tiptoe around those tough issues. I think it's important that we address the real life issues. And I think teenagers really resonate with that because they feel so much and they're experiencing so many emotional transitions and emotional challenges that I want to talk about them, even if they're hard to talk about.
Yeah. Now, what do you think that teens today really struggle with that adults miss out?
Mhm. I guess, well, there's so many things, but being a teenager is hard, like, regardless of the era you grew up in. Like, when you grew up, when I grew up, there's that comparison piece. You don't know who the heck you are. You're trying to figure yourself out, where do I fit?
Mhm.
And with the addition of social media, there's just this added pressure, I feel like. You now are inundated with so many ideas or pictures of what a great life should look like. And that's very confusing when you don't have an understanding of your own life. And that comparison piece is really strong. And the bullying, like bullying again, transcends generations. However, now kids don't escape. So when I went home and had a bad day or somebody was terrible to me, I could go home and just be at home and escape for a while. And
Yeah.
now it's traveling with them in their back pocket to their house, into their bedrooms all night long. And
It
I
never
don't
goes away.
think it never stops. It's relentless. So thinking back to myself, teenage me, I don't know how I would have been able to deal with that. Like, we've had kids coming to school and saying, so and so told me to kill myself at 3 a.m. on TikTok. Kids can't deal with that.
Yeah.
So I think adults, we need to just be super aware of what's happening on the screens and have those conversations because, yeah, kids don't know. They need help navigating this unknown territory.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's why I call, like, things like Facebook, I call it fake book. I mean,
Mhm,
it's the image that's portrayed on a lot of the social media stuff is, like you said, it's not always true. The
mhm,
people like to put their best foot forward, but then again, at the same time, it's also a dangerous tool. It's a dangerous instrument to be that kids don't understand really how it works. I mean,
mhm,
yeah, they grew up with it. Yes, yeah, they're more in tune with it, but they don't understand the long term effects of some of the things that they post out there. Whether it's just a general post out, just for general consumption, or if they're directing something towards somebody else. Like, they don't understand the long term impacts of it. That's a tough field to navigate through. It really is. Now,
Well, I think too, sorry, adults have a challenge with that as well.
oh,
So
sure, sure,
if we
absolutely.
have like adults who struggle with that, how do we expect kids now? We just give them this phone and be like, "Hey, here you go. Good luck." How do we expect them to be able to navigate that when,
Yeah,
we're struggling ourselves?
that's why when my kids were of the age when they were first starting to come into, like, cell phones and all that stuff, I you know, their mom and I just made it a point to make sure they got the least tech savvy phone that there was out there, because I didn't want them playing around with it like
Mhm,
that. I didn't want them to have access to all those things. And this was also before they had all the parental controls and things that they have now, that you can block out certain things, but there's a way around everything.
yeah, they're
Um,
smart.
oh yeah, for sure, for
Mhm,
sure. Um, my son, to this day, he'll reach out to me sometimes. He'll throw things at my son's 26 now, but he'll throw things at me. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he figures out these workarounds that
mhm,
it just boggles my mind. I hate social media. I am terrible on the social media stuff. There was a point not too long ago where I took a break from social media altogether. Didn't have a Facebook account. I didn't have an X account or a Twitter at the time. I didn't have any social media stuff whatsoever. And I was so happy about that. I didn't start getting back into the social media stuff until I started doing this show about a year ago. And I wish I never did. I
yeah,
honestly do. There's just nothing on there of value.
yeah,
There
I
really is.
agree. Like, as an author and, like, as somebody, you're starting your own podcast and trying to get that going, it's a necessity almost now. But I find when I post, I'm just like, "Ugh, I don't I feel silly, or I'm like, am I being my authentic self? Like, I hate
Yeah.
the not like, it's just not genuine sometimes. Like, I want to see authenticity, and so much social media is just not.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I really try not to post too much personal stuff. Like I said, I'll throw a plate or something up there that I'm doing, but I don't get into all personal things on the social media stuff. It usually it's a one sentence little post attached to a plate of food, or if it's a birthday, somebody's birthday, hey, happy birthday, whatever it is. That's it. I don't do it, and then everything I do with the show is just all show stuff. I
Yeah.
and everybody tell people that grow their podcasts all tell me the same thing. You really should have you should really have 10,000 followers by now, but you don't because you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be on Facebook. I don't want to do that. First of all, I don't have time to sit there on, between the full-time job, this and everything else that you have to do out of every day. Who has time to sit there and play on social media all day long?
It's a full-time job.
Yeah,
And
it is.
like, some people are on there constantly. I'm like, I'd rather go do things, be outside, live my life than sit on my phone.
Hmm. Absolutely. Now, when it comes to your research, how do you research things like technology trends and what's the word? It just flipped out of my head. Predatory behaviors. Predatory behaviors for
So,
humans.
yeah, well, my students help a lot with like the technology trends because they tell me all the things. So that's really helpful. They're like my built-in little crew. For at least I'm trying, the research was very hard. So it was a conversation of my students talking about Snapchat that kind of triggered my research. They were talking about snap maps. I don't know if you're familiar. Snapchat is one app I have zero desire to go on, never been on there. But they were talking about snap maps, which is a feature of Snapchat which broadcasts their real-time location
Oh,
to
yeah,
all
yeah.
of their followers, right?
Yeah,
And
I've
they
heard that.
all use it. I'm like, guys, like, what are you doing? Like, anybody could see where you are right now. Like, their phones are in their lockers. They know you're here. Oh, yeah, whatever. There's nobody bad on there. I'm like, how do you know? Like,
Exactly.
just mind boggled. So I started to do some research on, are these apps tools used by predators? And that kind of led me down this dark, dark wormhole. And I'm like, I gotta write a story about this because this is wild. It's happening all the time. So, Snapchat, Fortnite, Roblox, TikTok, all of these apps, like, before, your kids are at home and they're safe.
Yeah.
They're home, they're in their bedroom. And that's kind of what I wanted to show through this novel was, no, they're not anymore. Not if they have full access to the internet in their bedrooms. Anybody could be accessing them there. They could be talking to somebody across the country, across the world, somebody down the street who knows exactly where they live and where they are right at this moment. So, yeah, my research was dreary, to say the least.
So what would you say is the hardest part about writing about real life problems and then keeping it fictional?
Yeah. I think for me, for this book, it was being sensitive to, victims who have actually experienced something like this. I wanted to really show the emotions because when I write, I want my readers to to feel the emotions of the main character, but I also wanted to be sure that I wasn't being, explicit or just harmful in any way. I wanted to approach it as sensitively as possible. So that balance was really hard to be real and be sensitive at the same time. That I really struggled with that.
Yeah, no, I get you. Now, do you think that young adult authors like yourself and others have a responsibility to comment on social issues?
I think so because, this is real and kids want to read about this. And I think adults benefit from reading from this too. My books, I definitely want to be used as a conversation starter. I want these to be read by parents, and actually, it's mostly been adults who have read
Mm.
and commented on the book so far. I have a lot of students who have read it too, but in my mind, my perfect world, what I see is, a mom sitting down and reading this book, or a dad sitting down and reading this book, and then hey, passing it along to their teenager and then talking about it. Okay, what are you using apps like this? Like, have you ever experienced anything like this online? What would you do if this were to happen? Like, just a tool to start conversations that might be really difficult to approach or uncomfortable to approach. This would be the perfect way to do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I was going to say it's a good conversation starter for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, how do you think social media changed youth culture since you first started teaching?
I think back to when I first started teaching and there were no phones, right? And then we progressed to like the little flip phones, the dumb phones.
Mhm.
You could send your text, you had to like like to hit the number, like
I
your
remember those. Right?
pictures were garbage, like that was it. And then I remember when the smartphones came and I didn't really think anything of it. Like, wow, this is great. This is cool. Never crossed my mind. And then I started to notice the mental health stuff creeping into the classroom a lot. There's always been kids who struggled, but it felt like that number just kept ballooning year after year after year. The kids who were struggling were outnumbering the kids who were not. Like, what is going on? So mental health issues for sure. Kids being just like apathetic and disconnected from learning now.
Okay.
They're so used to that like bite-sized chunks of information, swipe, swipe, swipe. As a teacher, it's shifted dramatically is where I'm like an entertainer now rather than an educator. I'm trying to like get their attention and keep their attention, which is very challenging. Like, how can I compete with a 30-second TikTok video? I can't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um,
And I know it's conditioned a whole generation just to live in 30-second snippets,
yeah.
and which is terrible. It really is
Mhm.
because they don't have the attention span to sit there and actually digest something like like a full length news story. Like imagine a kid today sitting down and watching something like 60 Minutes.
Oh,
Not that I
no.
would not that I would encourage that. I mean, it's garbage anyway. But but they can't. It's impossible. And I can only imagine what it must be like teaching in schools these days with that because, like you said, you do have to become kind of an entertainer. You have to keep them interested. And I don't know what do you do? I mean,
Yeah.
do you change the theme every 30 seconds or so? I mean, I'm being facetious, but I mean, how do you do that? How do you navigate through that?
You don't. You try your best, but like at the end of the day, I'm like, guys, stuff is boring sometimes. I don't know what to tell you. I cannot make writing a thesis statement riveting. I can't. But like there's things in life you have to do that are boring and they struggle. Watching a movie even, like watching a full movie.
Oh, yeah,
Some of them
that's a great point
can't
too.
do it. And it's a movie, like there's all the visuals and the lights and the sounds.
Yep.
They struggle with even that. So reading a book, good luck. Like the amount of kids who actually read, it has plummeted. Like it's so sad.
Yeah.
So
You know,
you get, kids read this and think critically about it. Oh no. Yeah, critical thinking is another one.
yeah, well, I was gonna comment on that too, that,
Mhm.
especially today's day, they don't even I don't know what it's like because 'cause you're in Canada, so I'm not sure exactly how the Canadian, public school system operates, but I know here, they don't teach kids today how to critically think. They teach them to regurgitate, talking points, basically, is really what it is, and I'm sure that using things like a TikTok or I guess Snapchat. I mean, I have a Snapchat. I know what it is. I don't use it, but I have one.
Mhm.
So I feel kind of silly actually even saying that I have one. I'm like, you're 55 years old, dude. Why do you got Snapchat? I mean, I don't know. I like the camera. I don't know.
The filters.
The filters, yeah, the filters are cool. And I put filters on my dogs when I can. So,
Ah,
you know,
that's you get the joy from it. There you go.
yeah, that's about it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's really it. But, it's I lost where I was going with this. So there's 30 seconds, you see?
Yeah, it's fun. I think the critical thinking, what's challenging for me is like I teach social studies as well. So we look at like a situation and I want them to, look at both sides and then pick their side after you've looked at both situations. But they struggle with that.
Mhm.
Like, so you even, I try, but for them to just even have the to be able to sustain their attention to, okay, I got to research this side, find the key points, research this side, find the key points, and then kind of how do I bring my perspective into that now?
Right.
And again, everything I'm saying is all generalizations. Are there
Of
kids who
course.
critically think? Yes. Are there kids who read? Yes. All the things. But
Isn't it
as
terrible?
a whole,
Isn't it terrible that you have to qualify your statements like
no,
that?
just wait. They're not all struggling, I swear. But it's definitely just like I said, that number is just like exploding. The amount of kids who can't is growing, while the
Mm.
amount of kids who can is shrinking.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I said, my kids grew up. They're pretty well rounded. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
But like I'm immensely proud of my daughter. She just recently got her master's degree in
Wow.
her MBA, and she put herself through school. She did it all on her own, and while raising a family. So I give her a lot of credit, and it takes work. It takes a lot of work to
Mhm.
do that. Thank God I never gave them the cell phones and the smartphones and all that stuff. They got it later on, but at least I got the core in there. So I'm proud of her. My son,
Yeah.
another story altogether.
And I'm entering the trenches now because my oldest is 10,
Oh,
and almost all his friends have smartphones already.
yeah,
Like,
that's a dilemma.
sorry, not happening. But
Yeah,
I
no,
think that pressure as a parent is very real as well.
sure.
You don't want to be the only one.
And a lot of the stuff they can access a lot of that stuff through the web now too. Like I
Yep.
know that like you could do Instagram online. You don't need the phone. I
Mhm.
mean, if you want to post something cool, you gotta.
Yeah.
But and all that stuff, so that they still have access to it in a way. It's just not in the pocket. But
Yeah. And it's just having those conversations, I think, because we're not escaping it. It's not going anywhere. So my books are not meant to like shame anyone. They're meant to just look at, hey, this is our life, this is our
right,
society, this is the way things are. So now we need to be willing to have these hard conversations and talk about
yes.
these heavy themes because they're not going away.
Well, now that you mentioned your book, let's get into your book a little bit.
Hmm.
At least I'm trying. What's the core message behind the book?
There's a, let's see, at least I'm trying is about a very complex character who goes through a terrible, terrible ordeal. And basically, there's two things I wanted to get across. The first, kind of honing in on that technology piece. Like, we got to be checking in on our kids
Mhm.
and making sure that they are, who they're talking to online. Be that adult for them so they're not going to go out there seeking someone else to be there for them.
Good
The
point.
second one, I think, was really trusting your instincts and teaching kids to trust their gut because my main character does not trust herself. She has that little voice inside her head that's consistently telling her that something is wrong,
Mhm.
but she's not sure enough with herself or strong enough to listen. And so she ignores it until it's too late. So I think those are two really big takeaways from the book.
So, what inspired the story's focus on social media and the predatory dangers?
Yeah, so that was that conversation of snap maps. That was just what kind of like ding, like I had that little light bulb go off, and that led me into my research on are these online, platforms being used as tools for predators? And sure enough, it's overwhelmingly yes. These are kind of the main tools now used by predators to access their victims.
Now, this book, at least I'm trying. This is your most recent book, right? You have a
Yeah.
book before this. Can you tell us about that one?
So chasing through time is more real, like real things that I have seen consistently. Thankfully, as a teacher, I have never seen anyone go through the experience that my character, and at least I'm trying, goes through,
Mhm.
and I hope I never do. But chasing through time is basically about two girls. One girl lives in 2001, one is in 2022, and they connect online and become best friends. And it's got like a little time travel twist, but we see their challenges as teenage girls and how they're so similar, but we're also seeing how different they are because of social media. So the girl in 2022 is really struggling with some mental health issues. She shared an intimate photo of herself online, and that was shared with other people. And that is an experience I have seen as a teacher, unfortunately,
Yeah.
many times.
That actually
And kind
happened.
of the repercussions, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, go
that
ahead.
actually happened to somebody that I know. His daughter, she she's did something she shouldn't have done. She took this picture and she sent it to somebody that she trusted, and that person turned out to be not trustworthy and shared it with a ton of people. and made the circuit. It made the circuit. And the one thing that I think a lot of kids don't understand is that the internet's forever.
Yep.
It's never going to go away. You
Mhm.
know, somebody will just put the right search term in, and boom, there it's going to be one day. You know, and
Yep. And it's like those all kids make mistakes,
yeah,
right? All teenagers make mistakes. That's kind of their job is to mess up.
yes.
But with the internet, those mistakes become so much more catastrophic and permanent.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I definitely wanted to highlight that, and then the mental health repercussions of that, because I imagine that young girl, like, moving past that is incredibly challenging.
I'm sure it is. You know what?
Mhm.
I haven't seen or spoke to them in a number of years now, but I can only imagine. I remember when it happened, and I remember how devastating it was then.
Mhm.
Um, you know, she's probably about my daughter's age now, but uh, you know, I don't know how you'd recover from that. I
Yeah,
really
that's
don't.
hard.
I'm
Walking into school the next day.
sure,
Yeah,
sure. That's why I'm glad when I grew up we didn't have this technology because
me too.
all the stupid things that I did would
Me
be
too.
all over the place.
Mhm.
And it's just yeah. Let's just
Yep,
leave it
that's
there.
an interesting thing too, is because you hear so many adults say that. I think I don't know any adult who looks back and be like, "Man, I wish there was social media when I was a teenager." But then they say that and then give it to their kids without
Um, Great point.
having that thought process, right? Or having those
Great point.
conversations. That I find very interesting. So if you recognize, like, man, I did a lot of stupid stuff that could have been documented, like, okay, if you're going to give your kid access to this now, have those conversations and make sure they understand that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man.
Yeah.
That's really good. That
Mhm.
didn't even dawn on me at that point, but that was great. So what's the most surprising reader reaction you've gotten?
I had a student reach out actually who I didn't know was struggling, like had no idea. She presented herself as being very confident and cheerful and chipper. And she reached out to me about about chasing through time, sorry, and said she was struggling so much with her mental health and was going through some stuff very similar to the protagonist. And she needed that. She read it and it was like a light bulb went off. And I was like, wow, I never would have suspected. And I think that's the thing about mental health is you don't know a lot of the time when somebody is struggling. People are very good
Very
at
true.
hiding that. So if they can encounter books that approach it in a very real way, I think it can connect with those people so in
Yeah.
such a powerful way.
No, I agree. Totally agree. Have any adults, especially parents, told you that your books changed their lives or how they viewed teens?
Yeah, I've actually find my readership is mostly adults so
Really?
far. Yeah, I mean, I have a built-in YA audience, so a lot of my students have read and shared it and stuff like that, but a lot of people, like, in my reviews have said, like, "Oh, this," "I started to have these conversations with my kids," or "I never thought about, you know, this potentially happening to my kid."
Mhm.
Or some people even with Chasing Through Time, because one of the protagonists is in 2002 or 2001, sorry, they really saw themselves in that character, so they were able to connect with her in a way. So, yeah, I think my books, yes, they're labeled YA, but they're very much applicable to adults.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
So with spoilers, without or actually, I should say
Yeah, well,
without giving out spoilers,
yeah.
what lesson do you hope teens take away from your books?
Mhm. Um, Talk to somebody if things feel wrong, and that little voice inside your head or that, like, feeling in your gut, it's there for a reason, and listen to it. You're not overreacting. Your body, your brain, something is telling you that something's not right, and you need to trust that before you
Yeah,
could get yourself in a more serious situation.
that's good. That's good. So, how do you balance hope and darkness in your storytelling?
Yeah, that's a balance for sure. I never want to leave my books on like a dark note because my characters go through such like I feel bad for them. I really put them through it. It's a journey.
Yeah.
But by the end, I always want to leave with some semblance of hope. That is my goal. Like my characters maybe haven't solved all their problems and nothing is wrapped up in like a perfect pretty bow because that's not life and I want to be really true to life. And if you've ever gone through a challenging situation, it doesn't usually end that way, right? There's
True.
loose ends, there's still stuff you need to work through. You're dealing with the repercussions of your actions. But there's always, my characters always realize at the end that it's going to be okay. And I think that's really important for people. Any person who's dealing with a difficult situation, when it feels at its darkest and most bleak, that could feel like it's going to stay that way forever,
Hmm.
but it won't. It might take a while, but it does get better at some point. And it might not be perfect, but it does get better.
So what are you working on next?
I'm working on my third YA novel. I've actually written a full adult fiction novel, and I put it to the side right now because I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
I'm not ready,
That's
but
already-
it's done. I got a full
Okay.
draft done. So I'm almost done the first draft of a YA novel that I'm actually dealing with a male point of view this time because there's a whole other side of things for males, young teens, and the internet. You know, you don't have the body image stuff, or
Okay.
there's still the mental health, but I'm kind of focusing on that side of things. So how it's more challenging. You know, you have to be the tough guy. You know, the macho guy. Don't show your emotions. You know, that kind of side of things and how that can impact young men.
All right. I'm interested in reading that one.
Yeah.
So
It's
what?
different. It's interesting getting into the head of a young boy. It's definitely more challenging, but I had a student actually, incredible reader, incredible writer, and he said, I want to do this with you. So he's going to help me out.
See,
So
what I
there
like
we go.
from what you're telling me about the books, what I like about it is that you're portraying hard issues. You're talking about hard issues. You're bringing them into the light, and but you're not just leaving it hanging there. You're also trying to provide some solutions to it. And
Yeah.
I think that's important. You're trying to at least let them know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly important. There's so many books out there that just dwell so much on the darkness. They don't bring any light to it. And you know, that's unfortunate in some ways, in a lot of ways. But I like the fact that you try to bring it all together and try to bring some kind of resolution to it, or at least lighten it a little bit for the reader. And I think stories like that too, that they really do draw the reader in. So you know, my hope is that as these kids read these books, they'll actually get away from the phones. They'll put those things away and focus more than 30 seconds, you know, and immerse themselves in the story. The way you're describing the books are fascinating to me. And I would love to be able to sit down and actually go through each book that you have at some point. I have a reading list about yay high, and
Me too.
I would love to add. I'm going to see if I can add yours to it somewhere along the way.
That'd be great.
Because I'm interested. I'm actually very interested in your perspective on these things. I think from what you've presented here tonight is really intriguing, and I think it's something that needs to be out there.
Yeah, and I think with mental health, like what you said, if I left it on a dark note, that's not helpful at all. Because so many people, not just kids, there's so many people struggling with mental health right now, and I think it's an issue that needs to be out there. And yeah, that it does get better. It's not always going to be dark forever. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's one myth about teens you would love to bust?
That they are spoiled, entitled, and rude. They are.
You mean they're not?
They're not always, sometimes,
Right.
but that's kind of like what they're supposed to be doing. But I love teaching teens. I've taught a little bit of the younger kids. Ugh, that's not for me. Like, junior high kids are fascinating. They just want to be treated with respect. They want to be treated, you know, like they're grown up. And if you talk to them with respect, they are just fascinating. You know, it's so interesting. They're just figuring themselves out. They're getting their humor and their personality and becoming these like really cool, interesting, unique people.
Yeah, I remember when I was in junior high school, I was like that. I just wanted somebody to listen.
Yeah,
You know?
that's it.
You know,
And treat them well. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. I wasn't looking to be criticized and judged and all that stuff. I just wanted to have,
Yeah.
be able to express myself and just roll with it from there. And I had the benefit that I had some great teachers, you know, when I was going through school, and I can name at least 5 of them, you
I
know,
love
and they were extremely influential and at all stages of my school career, from elementary school all the way up through college. I just think though that out of all the teachers that I've had, I can only pick like 5 that actually had some kind of an impact on me. And I still tell stories about things that they taught me. Examples and illustrations they used in classes. And so teachers are very, very important. And I don't think teachers get a lot of credit for the things that they have to put up with on a daily basis. You do get the attitudes. You do get all the just the smarminess that people, that the kids like to throw out there these days, especially with the attitudes that they have these days, is ridiculous. Um, but so I give you a lot of credit for that. I personally, I could never teach. I tried. I did. I promise you I did. Yes, I did. I did, and I do not have the patience for it. So
It does take a special kind of person. You have to just be able to, roll with it.
yeah,
Some days are I'm like, what am I doing? What even happened?
No, you see, but the thing is, I like to teach, though. I do,
Mhm.
but I'm not a group of people. Like I'll sit down with 1 or 2 people, and I'll go through. Like I teach Bible studies. Okay, I taught our teen group at our church for a semester. Hated every minute of it. Absolutely hated every minute because I don't because when I do that stuff, I throw myself into it, and I'm trying to explain some very heavy material to a bunch of teenagers who really don't want to hear it, and so that gets me frustrated, and I get
Mhm.
aggravated. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
So
You
when they
can't
ask
take it personally. That's the
yeah,
key.
yeah, I know. It's a lesson I had to learn too. So
Yeah.
when they asked me if I was going to continue on the following semester at the church doing the teen group, I was like, no, 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 never again,
Wow.
ever,
Mhm.
ever again. But I'll sit down with somebody one on one, or I'll sit down with like a group of maybe 2 or 3 people and need to run the kitchen table, and I'll take it through stuff, and that's fine. I love doing that.
Yeah.
That's a
I
lot of
wa
fun.
Somebody once described being an English teacher as running a book club, but you're the only one who wants to read the book.
Or read the book.
That's yeah, exactly. That's basically it. And I'm like, "Oh, I just can't take it personally. Just do
Yeah.
your best."
So if you could change one thing about how schools handle digital literacy, what would that be?
I wish it was actually in the curriculum because I don't know about over there, but it is not talked about at all in our school. Like our province has nothing in the curriculum really of substance. They talk about what digital literacy means, and that's about it. But there's nothing in depth. Like we should be having kids on their phones and like searching up, showing how easily it is to find them and track them. Like they need to see it and not just have somebody say, "Oh, everything you do could be seen. It doesn't go away." Teenagers don't learn like that. They hear that and they're like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
They need to see it. Yeah, I just wish it was like almost need like a full course.
Yeah, well, that would be ideal. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're right. They don't understand, and they're not
no,
gonna understand unless they actually see it. And and
exactly.
and God forbid, like, I never would wanna see it to be, and a kid actually deal with that stuff. It's better they
No.
see it in a controlled environment than outside of it. So,
Mhm.
so I agree with you on that. Now, so who's somebody that you respect right now, and what are they doing that inspires you?
I follow a woman from California. She runs the Scrolling to Death podcast. And she is like, if I'm talking about the tech thing, she is like pioneering these movements to protect kids from big tech. Um, and I just think it's phenomenal what she's doing. She's, flying to Washington to talk to legislators, and she is having the conversations that need to be had and bringing so much awareness to so many people, which I think is what needs to happen. Because if the word spreads in parents and these conversations are happening amongst parents, then there's going to be less of that pressure put on parents. We can kind of band together as a community. It's a lot easier to withhold or at least delay some of this tech if we're doing it as a group and as a community.
Yeah, that's great. I agree with you. So, Tara, where can folks go to find out more about you and about your work?
Well, ironically, talking about our love of social media and my books that are not showing love of social media, I have to promote myself on social media. Um, so I stick with Instagram. I feel like that's like kind of where I'm most comfortable. So my handle is at Tara Hodgson author. So just my name and author. And then I have a website too where I kind of keep people updated, and it's just tarahodgson.ca.
Yep. Actually, I was on your
Easy.
website earlier today.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
I like it. It's easy to find
Thank you.
everything. It
That's
really
the
is.
goal.
It's bright. It's fresh. It's easy to
Mhm.
find stuff. So that's great. I appreciate that.
Thank
I do.
you.
But especially when I'm doing research, it makes it
Yeah.
so much easier than I have to start digging through all kinds of other stuff. But that's great. Well, Tara, thank you for being with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. And I wish you all the best with the books. And I will be in touch with you. I'll be sending you an email after the show with links and all that stuff, so you can do whatever you like with it. And hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, folks, Tara Hodgson. So make sure you head over to her website and check it out. Links will be in the show notes down below, and we'll get all that stuff set out to you. Our second hour guest is already in the waiting area there, so we're going to take a very short break here. Got to use the restroom, and then when we come back, we'll get in with Josh Fuhr, and we'll talk about some financial matters. All right, so folks, don't forget this is a live show, weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget also to hit that like button, share the show, make sure you do all that stuff. Helps with the algorithm, helps us get found. So please do that. And just stick with us. We'll be back in about, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes. All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us, folks. All right. First hour is in the books. Tara Hodgson joining us from the 51st state, Canada. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Great stuff. I mean, the importance of social media cannot be underestimated. The dangers of social media cannot be underestimated. So, hope you found that interesting. Folks, don't forget this is a live show, weeknights, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I really appreciate you guys letting me know that I had the wrong graphic up. Had the stream starting soon graphic up there. Should have been the break one. So that's my fault. That's the problems of a live show, and that's the problems of doing it by yourself. So it's always interesting. All right. Well, let's see. I got to do this, right? Folks, we all know that taxation is theft. We all understand that. We do. However, we have to file tax returns, don't we? Well, folks, since tax season is now upon us, I want to mention to you the Diamond Dynasty Tax Group Legacy. All right, 830-867-7106. They're local here in Eagle Pass. So if you are in the market for someone to help you with your tax returns this year, listen, these folks did a great job with me last year. All right, they maximized the refund, minimized the stress, really easy to work with, and very affordable. So check them out at give them a call at 830-867-7106. It's 830-867-7106. Set up a consultation with them, and don't forget to let them know that you heard it right here on the Joe Rooz Show. And remember, when you do file your taxes, remind them that taxation is theft. All right, let's make sure we understand that. All right, well, waiting in the wings here is our next guest. I will bring him up here momentarily because this segment is brought to you courtesy of Podmatch. Podmatch automatically matches ideal podcast hosts and guests for interviews while streamlining the whole process. Podmatch helps the right podcast guest and host find each other faster and automates administrative work so you can focus on what matters, and that is hosting great guests and bringing great content and quality to your audience. All right, now you can head over to Podmatch. Well, wrong one. You see, look at that. There we go. Podmatch.com/member/Joe. Check out our profile. Sign up through that if you are interested in doing so. We would appreciate that. And if you are looking to be a guest on a podcast, come on over. Use that link right there. It will be in the show notes below. And as I said, our guest here comes to us through Podmatch. So our guest is Josh Fuhr. Let me turn off the echo. And there we go. Okay. Our guest tonight here is Fuhr, for our second hour, founder of Tyson Blueprint, a trader and investor who builds real-world technical analysis-based training systems for everyday investors. After scaling a healthcare business to millions and pivoting through market upheavals, Josh now focuses on helping others crack the code on swing trading and portfolio performance beyond index returns. He's been featured on financial podcasts and also runs live weekly sessions teaching his proven approach. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Great to be here. Appreciate Podmatch for hooking us up, man.
Yeah, I've loved using it for the last couple of months.
Oh, it's been amazing. I've been with them now about 6 months, maybe a little bit more than that. And I'll be honest with you, almost every guest that I've had through Podmatch has been just outstanding. Like I've benefited from it immensely. And I encourage folks, if you're a podcaster, you're looking to get into podcasting, sign up for Podmatch. Easiest way to describe it is it's like Tinder for podcasters. You know, it's a dating app. That's really all it is. He puts up a profile, I put up a profile, the algorithm puts us together, and here we are.
That's how I describe it. It's the perfect way to describe that.
It's the easiest way. It's the most culturally relevant way to explain it either, I think.
Exactly.
All right, Josh. So we didn't get a chance to talk before the show, so I couldn't prepare you and warn you for what's about to come.
All right.
So I do have a couple of ice-breaking questions that I always ask every guest when they come on.
Okay.
Sometimes they're the same as previous shows. Other times they're not. So you will be the first to receive these.
Sounds good.
All right. What's the best advice you've ever ignored and then later realized they were right?
Oh, man. Shoot. Best advice I ignored. Probably drink your water, eat your vegetables, eat healthy, that kind of stuff. I didn't take that in my 20s at all.
Okay. Yeah. You know what mine was?
What was it?
Don't get married.
Yeah.
The best advice I ever ignored. That I shouldn't have ignored either. Let's see. Because now I realize they were right. Don't get married. Let's see. What's the most you way to accidentally cause chaos in a perfectly calm situation?
What was that first part? What's the most what?
What is the most you way of
Okay.
accidentally causing chaos in a perfectly calm situation?
I like to purposely throw a bomb in there. I like to really upset the apple cart when things are calm and um, just throw something crazy in there. So a comment, bring up a conspiracy that gets people started, talk politics when it's not appropriate. Um, that would be me.
Well, we are a kindred spirit, my friend, because I do very similar things. I really do. I like to stir the pot. I really
Yeah.
do. Make things make it seem more dangerous or more serious than the situation really is. I've had people tell me that they can't tell sometimes when I'm being serious and when I'm joking around, and it's like it's years of practice, but you got to keep working at it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to build that poker face. You got to build that delivery, that stone cold delivery.
exactly right. And where did I go? I lost you for a second. Sorry. Um, I had another question for you too, but I can't remember what it was. So let's get right into it here. So what first got you interested in markets and trading?
Yeah, so I kind of stumbled upon this during COVID. Like you said, I owned a company before that. I lost it during COVID, and uh, I just was looking for like what's next. I was kind of like everybody else. I took the standard advice. I had a portfolio manager. I went and saw him every couple times a year, and I think I just found it on Twitter, and I just was fascinated by like this puzzle that is the market. And seeing these young guys, younger than me, making tons of money, and just thinking, if they can do it, I can figure this out. And I just got hooked on it.
Now, how did your entrepreneurial journey start? Or I should say, how did your entrepreneurial journey before trading shape how you approach markets?
Yeah, a bunch of data analysis. So my first company, we did like supply chain consulting for big hospital systems, and my job was to take these huge databases and look for trends in there, and look for things that stood out, look for errors, like 100,000, hundreds of thousands of lines in Excel. So I had this really like analytical brain,
Mhm.
and the proper approach to trading and investing is like that. Like it's about searching for trends, all these patterns that people don't know exist. Um, it has nothing to do with narratives and what you're hearing on the news. It's all this stuff that's buried in the data analysis that helps you become a real trader.
So, what was the biggest turning point in your trading development?
The biggest turning point is always my biggest losses. I think, I've had two like really devastating losses, probably were they 3 and 4 years ago, like when I first got started. And it seems easy in the beginning and like you have beginner's luck and you make money. But when you don't have a system, like you can blow it up really fast. And I had just two massive losses that completely wiped me out and had to start over from scratch. And that'll teach you real fast that you just don't want to do that anymore. You don't want to live that life. You don't want to go through that stress.
Sure.
And that was really like, hey, I got to figure this out.
That's got to be hard, though. I mean, I don't know how much you lost or how much you had invested, but I know I went through a personal loss. I messed around with some stuff that I really didn't know very much about, and I lost a decent sum of money, and it hurt big time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking 2 years ago. Um, I'm still dealing with the repercussions of that. And it's devastating, and it just made me turn away from the whole thing altogether. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
like I don't want to get involved with it. I don't want to do it, and it's like everything in me says you don't know enough about it. I don't have the time to sit there and study it all. To be honest, I between the show and my regular job, I don't have time to try to teach myself anything like that right now. But I wish I knew more about it. I do. I really do. I that the potential there is huge to make decent amount of money as long as you're able to follow the markets and make the right decisions. I just didn't do it. So I understand where you're coming from. I like, again, I'm sure what you lost compared to what I lost is nothing near the same. But yeah, that's tough to come back from. It really is.
Yeah,
So
it's devastating. I mean, you just have to like take a week away, just step away and not look at the charts for a while and just regroup.
now you said you had two big losses. Were they close together?
They were about a year apart.
That
Yeah.
hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess with leverage anymore. No more 200x leverage stuff.
Yeah, I see that's a foreign language to me. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. That means you can lose it all. If it goes down to 0.5%, you lose it all.
Jeez. Yeah, no. You see that, and that's the reason why I lost what I lost. So, so how long did it take you to go into full-time trading, and what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I think I took maybe 6 months off, kind of explored, and I messed around with Amazon, that fulfillment by Amazon stuff, and I thought that might be a good path for me. It seemed super straightforward, and after a while, I just found out I didn't love it, and I was kind of doing the two at the same time. And so I ran those two in parallel for about 6 months, and then like I knew one was going to shine above the other, and I fell in love with trading, and it's been my full-time thing basically since about early 2021.
Now, your company that you work with, Bison Blueprint. Are you a founder of this company?
Yep.
All right. So, can you tell us about what exactly is Bison Blueprint and what it's all about?
Yeah. So Bison Blueprint is a community I started. It started earlier last year under a different name as a Substack newsletter. I didn't really like the long form newsletter thing. That wasn't the right fit. And so kind of rebranded it last fall into a Discord community. And what it does is it helps me share the stocks that I'm picking, the stocks that I'm actually buying in my portfolio with people. So I'll put those right in there and I'll say, hey, I'm buying this at this price. Come follow me in this trade. And then on top of that, I'm teaching people on a daily basis what I'm seeing about the market. Why are we entering this trade? So that they understand the fundamentals behind technical analysis. And so it's all based on these chart patterns, this technical analysis. It's to a lot of people, it's like a foreign language. It's like it's almost like astrology to some people. But it's my opportunity to share what I've learned with a group of people that are hungry for this information.
Um, now, I was reading over some of the stuff in your profile, and there was a question up there that in some of the questions that you had listed that I thought was interesting, talking about win rates. So, how do you measure your win rate?
Yeah. So for me, my win rate over the last year is I've alerted 186 stocks. Only 4 of those have lost, which means that they've spent a significant amount of time like below the buy price.
Mhm.
And then I think somewhere around 50 have hit their targets, and then the other ones are kind of in like that loading phase. So this is not day trading; it's more longer term investing. Um, so a really high success rate there where we're just not seeing anything break down below the price we bought it at.
All right, now, and how should listeners interpret performance claims?
Yeah, so with the way that we track performance claims is it's unique that in my system we don't use stop losses. And so we protect ourselves by diversifying. So we own a bunch of stocks. So if one goes really wrong, like it's not a killer thing. But the best way to interpret those win percentages is over the course of like 2, 3, 4 years, how many of those stocks are going to end up hitting their targets? Because we can't necessarily dictate when a stock is going to take off. We can only dictate that it's kind of found a floor. And so that's the unique approach that we take, is that we have some stocks that are just kind of chilling where we bought them at. And we have
Mhm.
some stocks that just took right off. So we interpret it as what has fallen below that protection zone that we've established at the bottom.
Is that the stop loss?
It's kind of like a mental stop loss. Like I said, we don't use a stop loss. We just diversify enough so that we don't have to. If you own like 40, 50 different instruments, different stocks, then if one goes terribly wrong, you're only down 1 or 2% in your portfolio, and it's not a big deal.
Okay, I think I follow along.
Yeah, but it's for some people, they might want to throw a stop loss below there. In my experience, I found that more risky because a lot of times it'll make a quick dip below, come back up, and then you lost money and everybody else made money.
Are there any particular indicators that you rely on the most?
Yeah, the number one indicator I use is super simple. It's called high time frame support. So for people that have invested or traded before, basically what you do is you zoom out and you look at 10 or 20 years, and you look at the very bottom where price has found a level that it won't go below. And it's normally a round number. It's normally like, let's say $5 or $10 or $20. And so that provides our floor. So that's my number one indicator that I use. The second indicator I like is just trend lines. Then this is like a foreign language to people that have never looked at a chart, but stocks follow these patterns within these lines. And as soon as the price goes through this line, it's called a change of character. And it means that all of a sudden we're going from bad news to good news to bad movement to good movement. And so I don't use a ton of the traditional indicators that people use. But I do use them to kind of support my thesis. So when price is at the floor, when it's broken through a trend line, then I'll start to look at some indicators like MACD and RSI to kind of give me that extra validation. But I never use those as like my primary entry signal.
I got you. I understand. Can you tell me what an index fund is?
Yeah, so an index fund, the most common one is SPY, the S&P 500. The other one is QQQ, which is the NASDAQ. And what that is it's a basket of stocks that usually have a theme. So those ones the theme is just that they're broad, that they're the whole market, they're the whole technology market. But there's index funds for things like technology, energy, foreign stocks, Mexican stocks, Brazilian stocks, anything you can think of. And that allows you to invest in an industry or a theme. And the cool thing about that is if you like that theme, if it has some potential, and one company in that basket really screws up, you're not in trouble. So it helps diversify within that theme. And a good example of that is lately AI has been all the rage. AI stocks have crushed it in 2025. But there's one specifically, SMCI, that had some accounting fraud, and they did not participate very well in the rally. So if you owned the index fund, you did great. If you owned SMCI, you were the victim of that accounting fraud, and you had a really bad experience.
So then how do you help someone transition from an index fund investing to more active strategies?
Yeah, so with the index fund, I call it death by diversification. So that doesn't mean I don't own index funds. I love to actually use targeted index funds, theme funds. But within that, when you buy things like the SPY and the QQQ, for example, the SPY has 500 stocks in it. Last year, just a rough guess, 150 of those lost money and 350 gained money. And there's a few that, were kind of close to zero. And so as stocks go through these waves, these index funds are diversifying to the point where it's not allowing you to make as much money as you could. And so our goal is to transition people off of those index funds, and we find only stocks that are going to be winners. So you're basically just buying low, selling high, and everything just moves in these waves, and you just ride those waves, and you can just keep dipping into these stocks in and out and making money, whereas index funds are slowly crawling up And people that own these stocks long term are going up and down on these waves, and they're not ever selling for a profit. They're just spending years going sideways.
And you said death. You said death by diversification.
Death by diversification. Yep.
That's interesting because, in all the studies that I've done and research that I've done, and look, everybody says, diversify, diversify, diversify. That's the best, the best way to make money and all that stuff. So why do you think it? Why do you think that's not the right attitude to have about it?
It's a very conservative approach, and I think when you have a investment advisor, the only thing that they don't want to happen is for you to have a losing year. Mm-hmm. So when they diversify you across like 80, I used to go to my appointments, and I've gone with my family members, and you're in 80 to 100 things, and it's just crawling up like a line. And so they don't want you to lose money 1 year, because then you lose faith. You start saying, well, maybe Joe's not my guy. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm going to go check out Charles Schwab or Ameriprise or whatever. And so that really helps them just kind of keep it steady. And it's honestly it's like the breadcrumbs that they give us. If they think that we're second-class citizens, they give us like these breadcrumbs, and that's all that we deserve. We only deserve 7% a year, 10% a year. And I just completely disagree with that.
Okay. What's one mistake that most new traders keep repeating, and how do you fix it?
One mistake that they keep making, I would say using leverage is a big thing, and just being too aggressive. I actually found when I took my pedal off, or my foot off the pedal, that I started to make more money. When I started to act a little bit more conservatively, look at longer time frames, stop day trading, and move into more swing trading and owning things. That's a great way to do it. Another big mistake that traders use is they have either FOMO, fear of missing out, or what I call one-itis, where it's like they only think about this one stock. They only think about NVIDIA, and everybody else is making money and they're not. And they end up buying too late. They end up buying at the top, losing money, putting themselves at risk. There's thousands and thousands of stocks in the market. There's hundreds and hundreds of quality stocks, and there's hundreds of companies that are at their 20-year lows that you can buy kind of risk-free. And so people need to really expand out into more than just these 10 stocks that they hear about on the news.
Okay. So now I know you have a webinar coming up, the 2026 stock webinar. So what's your focus on that going to be?
Yeah. So it's going to be 3 stocks that I'm buying and 3 stocks that I'm selling, to kind of help people rotate, help people kind of dip their toes. And the 3 stocks that I'm selling are ones that pretty much everybody owns, especially if they're a retail investor. Some of the big tech names. I think big tech's had its day, it's had its run, and the money's elsewhere. And then finding those new themes for people to get involved in.
So why did you pick those particular stocks? Is because they were big tech stocks?
The main reason is because the charts are telling me that just kind of the move's over. And it just so happened that most of them are big tech because of that big AI boom. What goes up must eventually come down. And so that's just at this point in time, at this phase of the market, tech is overcooked and a lot of the other areas are undervalued.
Okay. So what market themes do you think will define 2026?
Yeah, big market themes for 26. Healthcare did really well coming into 26. It's a little further along than at the very bottom, but it's going to continue growing in 2026. And that's a defensive sector. So when the economy slows down, when things start to get a little weird, that's when people flee into things like healthcare. A bunch of oil stocks are flashing green right now because of what's going on in Venezuela and lots of other things. The price of oil is going to go up next year, not as a political statement, just that's what the charts say.
Okay.
People don't know that a lot of this stuff is like predetermined that the price of oil will go up next year because the chart says it will. And whatever happens in politics is kind of like that worldwide wrestling. Like they're putting on the show for us, but the chart says the price of oil is going up next year and oil stocks are going to go with it.
Is oil considered a future or is that a commodity?
So future is a type of way to trade. So it's basically adding leverage. The real meaning of it is like that you can buy that in the future. You can have it delivered in the future. But what Wall Street has turned it into is it's just a way to apply leverage. So
Okay.
if the price of oil goes up 1%, you could make 10, 20, 30% on that trade.
So what's one trade idea you believe everyone should understand before they act on it?
One trade idea. I keep coming back to that concept of price and technical analysis. I just did a video last week on a really great quote by Peter Lynch. He's founded Fidelity and Merrill Lynch and one of the best investors of all time, best hedge fund guys. And he talks a lot about very similar strategy to me, where your price is your protection. So the price that you pay for something is all that matters. So if you're buying a stock at $200 and it went from 10 to 200, you're at risk. But if you're buying something at $10, that's where your protection is. And so many people get like wrapped up in the theme, what's going on in the news, but people need to focus on the price first. Whenever people come to me and say, what do you think about this stock? I pull up a chart and I look at how far away is the price from the support level. And is that a good thing to buy, or do they already own it? Like where, is a good time to sell? But the number one theme is make sure you're paying the right price for things, because the whole point of this game is to buy low and sell high. So make sure that you're buying low. That's the start of the game right there.
So how do you, when it comes to the markets, volatile markets, how do you manage risk in a volatile market?
Yeah. For me, it's always diversification. And in the last couple of years have been incredibly volatile. When you look at a chart, of the S&P 500, it's kind of in a small line, and then all of a sudden just boom. And that has to do with money supply and money printing and inflation and just the way the country's been run. Volatility is only going to increase no matter who's in office. Volatility is here to stay. And so you just have to be careful that, one day the rug can get pulled out from underneath you. And I wasn't trading a bunch when Trump was in office the first time.
Mhm.
I like President Trump, just to be clear. I'm not saying anything negative about him, but when he tweets something, you could own something that looks good and he tweets and you're screwed, or he could tweet and you benefit from that. So that took me a couple months last year to get used to that a tweet comes out and Chinese stocks are down and whatever, who knows.
So that's the secret. You wait for Donald Trump to post something. So you
Yeah.
can check it out and see what it is. Yeah, no. I support Donald Trump. I do, and I'm not thrilled with everything, but I support him. I think he's doing a fine job. And when it comes to the markets, though, I mean, I would like to see a little bit more action in the markets. At least, I still think that prices are pretty high on things, and I'd like to see him, rein in the Fed a little bit here. I know we had a recent reduction in the interest rates. Great, fantastic. Needs to be done more. Needs more, I think. I don't want to sound like a broken record. So many people say, my price of eggs still aren't that great, but
If you look at egg futures, they're down. The Wall Street price of eggs is, I think, back to where it started.
Mm.
That whole bump is gone.
Yeah.
He delivered there, and if the price in the store is higher, the store is the problem now.
Oh, for sure. No, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and I'm also sure too. Like Look, under the previous administration, it took them 4 years to wreck the economy. Well, a little less than 4 years actually, but it took them about 4 years to say wreck the economy. It's not going to turn around overnight.
Yeah.
It's like the analogy that I use frequently is it's just think of like one of those big heavy cruise ships. They don't stop on a dime. It takes a while for them to slow down enough to stop where they can turn around. So I kind of look at the economy that way too. Yeah, I'm frustrated with it. Yes, I think things are still a little bit too expensive. Energy costs are still a little bit too much. I got my electric bill last week. I'm not thrilled with it whatsoever. But it's going to take time to get these things done. I understand, and I'm not ignorant to that extent. But I'm just really hesitant to get into the market. I really am. Like, I'm not sure which direction to go. I'm not sure what to look at. So for someone like me who's a little hand shy from it, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I think for now it's time to, like I said, it's look at that price, zoom out, and try and buy low and sell high. So that's your first thing. Is just if something's gone up in a straight line, don't buy it. Silver and gold. For those people that have been in precious metals for a while, they've been talking about this narrative for a while, but I am not a buyer of silver and gold at these prices. I mean, it's skyrocketed up. Same thing. If you owned it a year ago, awesome, great trade, great buy, love the thesis, but don't chase it. And so that's what people need to be aware of. Again, going back to that same thing, all that matters is the price that you pay for it. And so many people get wrapped up in these narratives of, who knows what's going to happen with fiat currency? Who knows what's going to happen with China and wars and all that kind of stuff? You can rattle off any statistic you want to me, but that doesn't mean that the price of silver is going to go to infinity. So look at some defensive names. And like you said, with the analogy with the cruise ship, I referenced earlier that the market's starting to play defense. Like, it's expecting something bad to happen. And a lot of that is the economy under the previous administration it's still kind of that economy. A president's actions can't, even a year or two later, we're still working out some of the stuff that came under the last 4 years. So the Wall Street is expecting a little bit of a slowdown.
I've noticed that myself. And in preparation for our talk tonight, I did kind of do some research, just to try to get at least up to speed on current market. Because I honestly, I like the precious metals. I do own some silver. I'm not saying a lot, but I bought silver when silver was I think it was like $19 or $20 an ounce or so.
Yeah. I think it was 85 today, so 81, something like that, somewhere in the 80s.
Yeah. I know I've been watching. I'm like, oh, please come down a little bit. I want to buy some more. But I'm happy that it's value. It's increasing in value. I mean, that's great. But for what I already have, because of what I paid for it, But I mean, I can't get into gold. I just don't have it to do that. And all the other metals that they trade. Like, I didn't even heard of palladium. I don't know what that is, but
I'm glad you brought up palladium. I sent that out as an alert this summer. There's an index fund for palladium, and I don't remember. I think it's up something like 100% since then. So just a bunch of weird. The charts just tell you what's coming.
Yeah. It's fascinating actually too. So for someone like myself, doesn't have a lot to invest, right? What are some good stock picks that you would recommend to look at least?
Yeah. So right now, I really love things in the oil and gas space. So and things like natural gas. I've got one of the high risk plays I really like right now is called KOS. It's they do drilling and they have some land off of Venezuela and Guyana, which is the country next door. And that whole region's going to start to kind of clean up, start to get some synergy, get some Western businesses in there. So that's one I really like. What else did I talk about this week? A bunch of retail names. Interestingly enough, a lot of restaurants have done really well. weird stuff like Applebee's and Wendy's and discount restaurants. The charts look awesome.
Really?
Software. So kind of separating AI hardware from software. Software has been beat up, and that's looking really good. Names like Asana is like a project management system. That's one of my favorites. And then long-term treasuries, a ticker called TLT, is when interest rates go down, TLT goes up. So that's a really great kind of conservative play for people
Okay.
that are looking for bonds and treasuries and that kind of stuff.
So what tools or chart setups should every investor learn?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to learn, first of all, what are market cycles. So you go through, if you look up a market cycle diagram, it goes up, it reaches a stage of euphoria. And that's where we're at, like with silver right now. That's where NVIDIA is, that's where Palantir is, where they can do no wrong. Like the narrative is everybody made money, the company's awesome, and they are great companies. It's not just because the price doesn't go down means the company sucks. But every cycle everything enters into what's called stage 4, and that's when it starts to collapse. And when you zoom out of these charts, you just see these waves, you see these up and downs, and sometimes they're even, sometimes it's 10 to 100 to 10 to 100 to 10, and sometimes it's a little bit crooked, 10 to 100 to 20 to 110, things like that.
Okay.
But that everything moves in these stages, and when you feel invincible, you need to learn to sell and just move on.
All right. So I got KOS, I got TTL, was it?
Well, what was the second one? I'm drawing a blank on it.
Was it TTL? Was it?
TLT.
TLT. Okay.
TLT, yep.
So I'm going to check those out. I'm going to see.
Yeah.
See if I can jump in on
TLT
something.
is a nice, real conservative one. Another high risk one is I really like natural gas here, kind of playing on that. It's an AI infrastructure play, and it's a war play. So basically what all the AI guys are saying is we don't have enough power to run all these data centers. And so basically it's like all hands on deck to come up with power. And I bought solar names last year. I bought oil. I bought all this stuff. Anywhere that you can get power is starting to work out. So yeah, I think anything that's in that like second wave of power.
Okay. So what's something about the markets that you used to believe but don't anymore?
Oh, 100 things.
Well, go ahead.
I have a whole list of myth busting.
The floor is yours, my friend.
It's that the quality of the company matters. I just don't think that's true. I've made money off of companies I've never heard of. And the case study that I always use is Carvana. So Carvana, vending machines for cars. It's not a super cool idea. I've never met anybody who used it. Some people do.
You know what? Where I live, you see that's all you see around here. You see those plates in the back, Carvana.
Yeah. Not super popular by me, but not like a groundbreaking business. It's not like this super cool new thing. And their chart went up. I think it went up to like 350, went all the way down to $4 or $5. And they either declared bankruptcy or were going to. And if you had bought right around the day that they declared bankruptcy, it's back up over 450. It might have been gotten to 500. So you were looking at like 100x in a couple years. And so when people need to learn like to look at these charts and not care so much about the quality of the company. If you bought Carvana over some like Apple or Google, you would have done even better. And I think the biggest thing for me is that have you heard of the term KFAB? It's like what they call worldwide wrestling.
No.
So it's the term for what WWE is. Like it's there's like a script, and
Okay.
we're gonna like play fight. The two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, play fight, and then um, they have already agreed to what they're gonna do. And the stock market is that way. The stock market is predetermined to an extent, not 100%, but a lot of it's predetermined. And they're just putting on a show for you that makes you think that you have to research. And one of the more destructive things about that is it makes you feel like you're not good enough to do this. So because I didn't go to Harvard, because I don't run a hedge fund, I'm not qualified to become an investor. And that's 100% not true. I'm a pretty normal guy. I learned this on my own. There's tons of kids in Miami that are 20 years old that are making millions of dollars doing this. Like it's not this like Wall Street thing. I think that's a huge lie.
Mm. Okay, so again, someone like myself don't have a lot of money to invest. How do I get started?
Yeah, so I always recommend people just open a Robinhood account. I use a more complex broker, Charles Schwab. It's got more features, but Robinhood makes it super easy. You can sign up. The app's awesome. It's quick. You don't have to. It's like a video game. You don't have to learn all this complicated stuff. And then go out and pick a few names. Look at a chart. Look at some names. Research some themes that people are talking about, and just try and find something that's at a low price, and watch the price action for a while. And there's so much free information on both Twitter and YouTube. So when I first started out, honestly, there's a whole trading community out there, and they'll post, one or two free stock picks a month. And that's something that we do too, where it's like, okay, before you want to spend money and join, we'll show you what this is like and give you an example. And if you just go out and look at a couple of those guys' free stock picks and start to understand why, and start to learn the language, that's where I would start, is just to get exposed to it, buy what they're buying, and start to learn the language, start to feel the emotions of what it's like. And I always say, put in enough money that you can feel it. Obviously, don't put in enough that you can hurt yourself. But don't just put in $20. I mean, put in enough that if you lost half of it, you'd be a little bit disappointed, because investing is about a lot of emotions, and you need to learn what it's like to lose 10%, 20% of your money, and just to be okay with that, and just to keep continuing what you're doing.
Okay. So I'm gonna check into that, Robinhood. I've heard of it. I know people who play around with it, so I'm gonna look into it myself. But a lot of these, a lot of apps today, like what is? It just flipped out of my head. Cash App, like Cash App. They have a stock buying feature in Cash App, and you can buy little pieces of stocks here and there. There's a few well-named ones in there you have access to. Do you think something like that is not a smart way to invest your money in buying little pieces of a stock?
I think it makes it more accessible to more people. And so when I think of investing, I think of it as like a ladder or a pyramid, where, at the very bottom, you might start with a Cash App, or an Acorns does kind of the same thing, where they take extra pennies and buy stocks with it. So it's getting you in the game. It's getting you familiar with it. And then from there, when you have enough money, you can go out and get an advisor, and they'll diversify you. And that works too. That's one step in the ladder. So I would never discourage anybody from doing those things. And then once you get past the advisor level, you're starting to invest on your own. Maybe you're buying big names like Apple, and you're buying the S&P 500. And then we're just keep encouraging people to grow on this pyramid. Now let's get above the index funds, and let's start to buy good stock charts and learn how this system works. So I never discourage people from doing something that's on the lower end of the pyramid, because it's better than doing nothing. If you're not investing, inflation's taking all your money away. And so when you're investing in like a brokerage account with an advisory firm, you're pretty much keeping pace with inflation. Just barely. You're getting a little bit above average returns above it. But if you really want to make money and crush inflation, you have to do a little bit of work on your own.
Mm-hmm. Because I was looking at the Cash App stuff, right? And you can buy, like, you can take $10 and invest it in this, and but are you really going to make anything by just throwing $10 at a stock that's, say, $200 a share? You're buying $10 worth of that share, and it's not even a full share. Are you really going to make anything if you're doing that on a regular basis? That's the thing.
Not really. I think I would treat that more as like a savings account. Like, okay, I'm stashing a little bit over. I'm trying to be intentional to put some stuff over here into stocks. And once it grows big enough, then I can move it to somewhere more significant. So I'd consider it more of like a high yield savings account when you do it that way.
Okay.
Then you're probably not an investor at that point.
Yeah, I'm only asking because I know people who use that, and they talk a big game, like, oh, I'm invested in this and that's it. Okay, you have $10 of Tesla stock.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I think, was it the last time I looked at it was like $230 or something like that a share, something like that.
I think it's been a while. I shouldn't say. I haven't looked at it in a minute.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. The last time I looked at it was maybe a month or so ago. So that was the last. But okay, so you have $10 of a share of $230. I mean, that's really, you're losing more than you're gaining.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just figured I'd just throw that out there and just see what it's all about. So let's see. I did have a question here that I actually wrote down. Okay. What is this? This isn't even what your questions are. Hold on. This is the problem with the live show, folks. Sometimes you mess up your notes. Let's see. So what are the challenges of day trading while I'm looking?
Yeah, I think the challenge is the stress. Specifically with day trading, once you move over to investing, it's not as actually the challenge is the opposite. The challenge is the waiting. Because before I started the community, and part of the reason I started the community was it only took me 30 minutes a day to monitor and execute my trades.
Okay.
And so it's just a ton of waiting.
Now, I saw something on your profile that says you were day trading out of an RV.
I did, yeah. Yeah, so I took during COVID. I bought an RV in the fall, and I went out west, and I did 6 months visiting all the national parks west of the Mississippi. And that's when I first kind of dipped my toe. I wouldn't consider myself much of a trader then, but I did the same thing last winter. Went out west to Texas, across the Southwest, and spent a lot of time in like the Utah, Las Vegas area, just with a laptop and with the dog, and ran off a generator out on BLM land, and just explored, got out of the Michigan winters.
Just for reference, BLM is not Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, different BLM, yeah, Bureau of Land Management. So yeah, just that was a really cool experience. And I actually just made a video for social media today about that experience, just like the ability to go anywhere and trade and live and set my own schedule within reason is so cool. I love it so much.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a bad idea, to be honest with you. One of the things we used to always joke around about was saying, one of these days when I officially, fully, completely retire, I'm gonna sell everything, get an RV, and go drive out into the desert, and nobody will know anything about me until they find my body, picked clean by coyotes out somewhere.
Yeah. You can get pretty far away from people out there.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. And with Starlink, I got that last year, and that's such an incredible technology. You can
ask you, how do you like that?
It's so cool. You can be, with cell phones, we think, okay, we have to be close to a tower. but all you need with Starlink is an unobstructed view. So if there's, as long as there's no trees or buildings in your way, you can be literally in the middle of nowhere, hundreds of miles from any cell phone tower, and you're getting like 500 megabytes of service,
Really?
just streaming and trading and whatever you want, everything at your fingertips.
That's pretty neat. I think,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna-
really cool.
actually, what I do need to look into something as a backup for my home for the
Okay.
studio setup, because earlier today, like around 4:30, I got a text message from my ISP saying that there was an outage in the area. They weren't expecting to be back up until 8 o'clock.
Uh-oh.
So I was like,
Yeah.
But, I mean, fortunately though, they got it up and running a lot sooner than that. But
Yeah.
just for situations like that, because I hate canceling shows, I hate rescheduling because it's so hard to do it. Everybody's busy, everybody's got packed lives. But so I need something for a backup. So I was actually looking at the Starlink stuff, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be more expensive than what it is.
Yeah, the prices vary based on whether you're moving or staying still, but it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna look into that. So how do you envision the future of retail trading education?
Yeah, I think that I think the dam is breaking. I think that people are really starting to get into this, especially younger people, especially young men. That whole generation that was really like shut out from jobs, especially people that were shut out politically from jobs and having a future, are looking to things like this where they don't need permission. They don't need to be hired by somebody. They just get to start. And so there is just a crazy influx of young men who are trading now and doing really well. And I actually envision a time in the not so distant future that retail, I think Wall Street owns something like 99% of stocks right now. We only own 1%. And I could envision in the 20, 30 years from now, that getting closer to 50-50, just because there's so many people that are getting into this and having success with it and using those Wall Street strategies that those guys might not control it at too much longer.
That'll be a good thing.
It will be a good thing.
It really, I would say, I'm not saying to be sarcastic. It really would be to have people more involved in the stock market as opposed to just all congested into one area.
Yeah, I think 50-50, I'm not a big, huge Wall Street guy, but they do serve a purpose. They do, deploy capital and stuff like that. So I think a 50-50 split is like a nice, healthy, where people can make money and it's not so parasitic like it is now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So, Josh, who's somebody that you respect right now? What are they doing that inspires you?
Somebody that I respect right now. I really like Tucker Carlson. I was watching a show today, and he broke away from Fox News, and he's just doing it. Like, he's speaking his mind. And his show's great. He's funny. He's got great guests on. And it's just, I relate to somebody who kind of like throws those chains off and just says, I'm going to do this my own way. I'm not going to be censored.
Mhm.
So I really respect that about him, and he's doing really well.
Yeah, I like him too. I do. I like the fact that he doesn't stick with the narrative anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he ever really did. I think even when he was on Fox, he spoke his mind. He got it out there, but I think even now he's more free, of course, because he's on his own stuff, but to say the things that he needs to say and to get out. But I have a lot of respect for him. It's he left a well-paying gig, started all over again. I know he wasn't hurting for money or anything like that. I understand that, but just to kind of continue on and to build again and get stronger. I mean, I think he gets more viewers than CNN gets in a night.
Oh, I bet by a magnitude.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. It's like, one day we'll be there. One day.
Yeah, but I also respect a lot of these guys in the trading community, these younger guys that are putting together courses and they're teaching people and stuff like that. So it's just, I love people that break free from systems and do their own thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Josh. So where can folks go to find you and more about what you do?
Yeah, so if they want to follow us on social media, our handle is bison.blueprint on pretty much everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything like that. And if you want to get involved in the community, you can sign up on a site called WHOP, and that's spelled WHOP /Bison Blueprint. And if you use the code podcast50, you can get 50% off your first month that way. And we love to have people join us and take this journey with us and learn how to invest properly.
All right. You know what? I didn't have that information about the group. So if you could just send that over to me this way I can make sure I add it into the show notes.
Sure. Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Outstanding. Outstanding. All right, Josh Fuhr. Man, this was great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry about the little technical issues that I've been dealing with tonight. It's just been one of those. It's a Monday. It's for
no
sure.
worries. I thought it ran really smoothly. I appreciate you having me on. It was a good talk.
Yeah, same here. And you know what? Anytime you want to come back, just let me know.
Sounds good.
You want to become our unofficial stock guru, and we could do a special segment with you.
I love that. I would love to. I don't know if you have a way to take like audience questions or something. Or, that would be a ton of fun.
Well, we could. I don't have a lot of live views right now, but most of my content is through download. But I like doing the live show because I don't have to edit it. I hate editing, so I just let it go. But we can definitely work on that, and maybe we can get some audience submissions. We'll have you come back on a regular and do something like that. But we'll talk about it off the show.
Cool. Yeah, I would love that.
All right, outstanding. Josh Fuhr, thank you so much again. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So, all the technical headaches aside today, I think we did pretty good, don't you? I do too. All right, folks. Don't forget to check out the show. It's a live show, weeknights, 7 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, follow button, whatever you want to call it. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you guys. And you heard it here first. If you have any questions about stocks or trading or finances, you can always send it over to us, and we'll get Josh on and to answer those questions for you. I think that'd be a lot of fun. We could do a special, just like we do with our resident crypto psychic. We could do that, with Josh. We'll come up with a little handy dandy nickname for him at some point. All right. Shout outs to our executive producers, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and of course, Anonymous Angela. None of these, we couldn't do this without anybody. We couldn't do this. Not every single one of them plays an integral part in this. Why? Because they're donating their time, their talent, their treasure, and they're helping us put together this show. So we really do appreciate them, and we're incredibly thankful to have them on board here with the team. Now, if you'd like to find out more about how you can help the show, you could support us. You could visit our website, joerooz.com/support. That's joerooz.com/support, and you can many ways to help us out. We have our crypto wallet information up there. You can donate crypto. You can sign up to be a producer of the show. There's 3 different tiers for that. You can sign up to that. All of that stuff is outlined on the website, joerooz.com/support. Now, tomorrow night, don't forget to join us again, 7 p.m. Central Time. We have a man from the future is going to be joining us, coming to us from Australia, great down under. So Ian Riley will be with us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you make some time and schedule for that. And I do believe that should be it for us for tonight. So, folks, thank you again for being with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check out the website when you can. And, folks, listen, don't forget, make Texas independent again. Go podcasting. Keep a steady stride. Keep talking. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.